The house had been unusually quiet for a Friday night sleepover. Too quiet, I realize now, as I climbed the stairs to check on my 17-year-old daughter Anya and her friends. The muffled sounds of teenage laughter drifted down the hallway, but something about it felt off, like the kind of laughter that happens when people think they're getting away with something. I paused at the top of the stairs listening. The giggles were coming from the wrong direction entirely. Not from Anya's room where 5 teenage girls should have been painting their nails or gossiping about boys, but from Noah's room. My 14-year-old stepson's sanctuary, the one place I'd explicitly told them to avoid. My stomach dropped as I approached his door, which stood slightly ajar. The scene inside made my blood run cold. Noah sat frozen on his bed, pressed against the wall like a cornered animal. Two of Anya's friends had made themselves comfortable on his mattress, their legs stretched out casually as if they owned the space. Another girl was flipping through his sketchbook, his private sketchbook where he drew the intricate fantasy worlds that helped him process his grief. The pages revealed dragons with scales so detailed they seemed to shimmer, medieval castles with towers that spiraled into clouds, and warriors whose expressions conveyed both strength and sorrow. Each drawing was a masterpiece of imagination, the kind of art that takes hours of careful attention and genuine talent. The fourth friend was rifling through his desk drawer, pulling out small trinkets and examining them with the detached curiosity of someone browsing a museum display. And they were all laughing. Not the warm, inclusive laughter of friends enjoying each other's company, but something sharper. Something that made my chest tighten with protective fury. "What's this supposed to be?" one of them asked, holding up one of Noah's sketches. A magnificent phoenix rising from ashes, its wings spread wide in triumph. "It looks like a mutant dragon or something." "Oh my God, he has so many weird little figurines," another chimed in, turning the small metal knight over in her hands. "This is like really intense for a kid his age. Kind of obsessive, don't you think?" Noah's eyes met mine over their heads and my heart shattered. Tears tracked silently down his cheeks, but he hadn't moved or spoken. He'd simply shut down, the way he always did when the world became too overwhelming. "Get out." My voice was low, steady, but it cut through their chatter like a blade. "All of you, out of this room, now." The girls looked up, startled. Anya appeared in the doorway behind me, her face flushed with embarrassment and defiance. "Dad, we were just—" "I don't want to hear it. I'm calling all of your parents. This sleepover is over." "Dad, no." Anya's voice cracked with mortification. "You can't just—" "Watch me." The next hour was a blur of uncomfortable phone calls and hurried goodbyes. I explained the situation to each parent with clinical calm, watching as 4 sheepish teenagers gathered their overnight bags and filed out of our house. Anya stood in the living room, her arms crossed tightly over her chest, watching her social life crumble in real time. "I can't believe you embarrassed me like that. They're going to think I'm a total freak now. Go to your room. We'll talk about this in the morning when you've had time to think about what happened." "Hey, buddy," I said softly, sitting down on the edge of his bed. "How are you doing?" He shrugged, not meeting my eyes. "I'm okay." "You don't look okay." For a long moment, he didn't answer. Then in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "They just came in." I didn't know how to tell them to leave. "Your room is your space, and no one should be in there without your permission." They were looking at my drawings. They thought they were weird. "Your drawings aren't weird. They're incredible. You have a gift, Noah. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed of that." "Thanks for making them leave. Always, that's what family does. We protect each other." Now, hours later, I sat in my kitchen with a cup of coffee growing cold in my hands. Both kids were asleep, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd somehow failed them both. Had I overreacted? Should I have handled it differently? But then I remembered Noah's tears, the way he'd frozen when his space was invaded, and I knew I'd made the right choice. Some boundaries are worth defending, even when it's difficult, even when it means disappointing one child to protect another. Over the following weeks, I watched both kids heal in their own ways. Noah gradually emerged from his shell, showing me new drawings and even asking if I wanted to hear the stories behind them. Anya, meanwhile, began reaching out to different classmates, building friendships based on shared interests rather than social status. She even asked Noah if he'd teach her to draw, sitting beside him at the kitchen table as he patiently explained shading techniques and perspective. Family isn't always about making everyone happy. Sometimes it's about making the hard choices, standing firm when it matters most, and trusting that love and consistency will guide you through the difficult moments. That night, I'd chosen to protect the vulnerable over preserving the peace, and in doing so, I'd shown both my children what it means to truly have each other's backs. That is the whole story. That's the whole story for today. Honestly, this dad handled an impossible situation like a true protective parent. I'd give him a solid 0 out of 10 Slytherins. Pure Hufflepuff energy, standing up for the vulnerable, and showing both kids what real family loyalty looks like. Definitely not the jerk here. What do you think? Was he right to end the sleepover, or did he go too far? Drop your verdict in the comments below. That's all for today's story. Hope you enjoyed the ride. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to help me reach my first 1,000 subscribers. It really means a lot. And hey, if you're still craving more drama, mystery, or chaos, check out the next story right here on the screen. See you in the next one.